Today is day fat. I mean day 4.
You're so silly. This is where we started in our journey. This is the number one thing that we decided to get rid of and that scared us to death as we learned about it. I'm going to be the first one to tell you that fats are the most complicated thing ever. And I'm going to start off by showing you 2 books. I know almost every homesteader has this book in their home. If you do not, by Sally Fallon, click the link below and you can get it. Her second book is just on fats, nourishing fats. If you really want to understand fats, click the link below and get this book. There's no way we're going to talk about everything in that book or even be able to touch upon it in that. I touch a lot more on it in my 12 Weeks to Heartiness. But let's just get started here.
Let's jump in, right?
Okay. So when we first started this, there was this thing called partially hydrogenated fats, which equaled trans fats.
They're still there.
They're still there.
Big time.
But not as much as they used to be. So this day thing that we're doing, the days one, not the weeks one, is not in detail about why. This is what?
Skimming the surface.
Skimming the surface. So you want to get rid of hydrogenated fats, partially hydrogenated fats, and trans fats. A lot of things will say no trans fats, but that's in their serving size. If you eat 4 or 5 of those servings, you're getting...
And that's because the measurements fall below what they're...
Yeah, they put the measurements of the trans fat into a small serving.
Yeah, and so they don't have to declare it there because it is below the threshold.
But if you're going to sit there and nibble on 6 or 7 servings, you're going to get some trans fat. That's it, right?
Read the whole label, and they'll be there.
So margarine... Please don't use margarine.
Not even real margarine.
Yeah, we saw that. Real margarine. We sell real margarine. I'm like, what is real margarine? It's a hydrogenated fat.
It's got a nice color to it.
And almost every restaurant does margarine, not butter. So make sure you ask. We take our own if we go.
Yes.
Shortening. I can taste when some shortening is in a biscuit. Really bad. I can taste if it's in a cookie. I can taste the shortening. The Crisco company started most of this mess. But don't use shortening. So shortening goes out of your kitchen. Margarine goes out of your kitchen. What else, Jim?
Sunflower oil.
Safflower oil.
Corn oil.
Peanut oil.
And canola.
And canola. If you go into Whole Foods, they've converted most of their good products over to have canola oil in it. Canola oil is not a good oil. Now, I'll go into it more in our other one, in our
and
12 weeks
by
and
good,
8 weeks.
The word is healthy. There are unhealthy aspects to it for several reasons.
Yes. We started here because these oils have a great deal to do with causing heart disease. Your polyunsaturated fats, which are your vegetable oils, are super high in omega-6, which our bodies need omega-6, but not that much, and it causes free radicals, and it causes heart disease. And so I'm just going to stop right there, but those are the reasons that we don't do it. So we give up sugar.
So what we're saying from our foods, sugar and the unhealthy fats are really the core of what starts and causes the diseases that we experience because of the foods we eat.
Again, that's covered in 12 Weeks to Heartiness, so I'm not going to cover it here. Be a label reader. Those are the things that you will find. I mean,
seems like you've said that a few times.
You know, it's interesting. Sometimes I'll pick something up and somebody will come up to me and they're like, what are you looking for? You keep putting stuff back. educate me. What are you looking for? So I always started by looking for partially hydrogenated oil, and now I look, oh my word, we left one of the biggest oils off that you are not supposed to eat.
How did we do that?
Because I didn't put it on. Because it's so embedded in my head. Soybean oil. Soybean oil is the largest amount of oil that's used in more products because of it's so cheap. It's a byproduct of making soy products. It's made wrong, and it's so bad for you. But it's in everything. It's in everything, and it's the reason I can't buy the breads, the crackers, the chips, the things like that. For me, it's really bad for my thyroid. It's really bad for most people's thyroid, but soy is bad in that respect in using soybean oil. So don't use that big crossed out soybean oil.
Now that we've brought up the idea of label reading being ultimately important, keep your awareness when you're at the store watching for people who are reading labels. You will see more and more people who are doing that. It's those who are informed read the labels because they don't want to pull something off the shelf that's going to bring in substances they don't want to consume. There's a huge awareness. Maybe you're already part of it. If you're not, join in. You need to understand what you're eating.
Most of the really good $5 loaves of organic bread have soybean oil in them. Dave's does not. So that's just a message there. What do we use? I don't have any ghee to show you right now.
Ghee spelled Ghee.
And I'll put a video up here that shows when I did make it. And I do purchase it and use it. I just happen to be out of it right now. We use butter.
Grade A butter. What does that have in it? Butter.
We use extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil is pressed, cold pressed, organic, and you have to watch your olive oil, so make sure that you're getting a good olive oil.
Which is going to be the cold press.
Right. And you want to make sure it's in a dark area and keep it in your cupboard. Dark. That's the key to keeping your oils safe from oxidation, which is another great big thing that is talked about in 12 Weeks to Heartiness.
So obviously buying it in bulk is only a good idea if you use a lot of it. Otherwise you want to get it fresh. And we haven't talked about it and we haven't looked into it, but I'm going to assume what we don't want to do is to buy something that is old sitting on the shelf.
Yes.
Do they even date them? I don't know that they do.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. But if you go through olive oil fast and that's the only thing you use, then go ahead and buy the bigger stuff if you can afford a good one.
Yeah.
It's really important that you understand that oils get rancid. And
rancid equals not good for you.
Yeah, rancid equals free radicals that go in and hurt your cells and can cause cancer. That's simple as it is. This is a couple scoops of our lard from our pig. We do use lard. It's good for you.
And on the label, which doesn't exist, the only ingredient is lard.
And we use coconut oil. We use organic coconut. Oh, I like that name. And it is 92% saturated fat. It's your highest oil in saturated fat. And so
larger container, we go through it fairly rapidly.
Yeah. We also use avocado oil sparingly. I don't have any of that right now. Like I said, this is a very complicated, very hotly contested. Your American Heart Association is on one side and your Weston Price is on another side, and you need to do research for yourself. This book is written by Sally Fallon, that is with Weston Price. I have researched many other sources because I have to go back and forth. I don't agree with everything Diana Schwartzbein says and the oils that she says to use. And so we go back and forth on what but those that I showed you are our oils of choice.
A common experience as you become aware and you make your decision which side of the contest you're on as far as oils and fats are concerned is that if you start feeling and believing that the saturated fats are good for you to eat, the proper ones, there's still this in the back of your mind sense of guilt. Is this really okay?
Really right?
Because the literature, the talking, it's so opposed to it. It's just ingrained in us to think that way. And there's a lot of research that will demonstrate that they're okay. They don't cause problems, but still the researchers tack on there, you still shouldn't do it, even though they've proved that it's okay.
They're afraid to do it.
They're afraid to do it because it goes against what is being recommended by the various governmental organizations.
So I have a few questions to answer. Number one, one of the comments that we had in a couple of days ago is one of our viewers talked about that she uses dates to sweeten her cookies and to sweeten the things like that. Wonderful idea. We use fruit as our dessert because that is what is a natural.
There's not a better sweetener.
So even when we canned our peaches, which we froze some and we canned some and we ate some, even when we canned them, we didn't put them in we put them in like the lightest syrup you could possibly do. And they weren't sweet yesterday when we ate them, were they?
A story we've told more than once is when we were first doing this, one of our friends, Rinda was explaining it to her about the oatmeal that we ate, that we didn't put sugar in it. She was like flabbergasted. Well, we put in raisins or other kinds of fruit to bring our sweetness into our oatmeal, but we didn't put other sweeteners in
And
there.
I was a sugarholic. I also don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
I just toned it way down. I mean, to take a bite of a regular cookie, so sweet. So sweet.
Yeah. So sweeten it with natural substances like that. That's the way to go. Get your taste adjusted, and it works really well.
Krista made another comment. She made a comment the other day, and she says that the coconut oil from Tonga is all organic. They are not allowed to have any pesticides or anything there, but they don't label it there because it's not,
just not even possible.
They did have a really, really, really bad storm come through, she said, so their availability of their coconut oil
prices go up.
Is a little bit less right now, but that's good to know. I love that we learn from you guys.
Yeah, I know, we appreciate it.
That's so great. So I'm going to share that with you. One of our viewers asked what wheat grinder we use, and it's called Sunshine Nugget. The handle isn't on right now, and it bolts down to wood that bolts to our table. It's got the stones here that you can turn. We got it from Bob's Red Mill, and we've loved it. It works really, really well.
It does a great job. Easy to use, easy to set up.
I don't remember what the price was. We have been asked if we have made a video on our granola recipe. And somebody else said that Living Traditions made a good recipe, but they leave out a lot of the carbs. Or this person leaves out some of the carbs that the others put in. Connie and I are getting ready to make a big batch in the next week for sure. And so we will videotape that.
Awesome.
And show how we make our granola. I guess somewhere I said 3/4 of a cup of salt.
Lots of salt.
Sorry, that was a faux pas. Tomorrow we are learning about nitrates, nitrites, and processed meats. And then we are going into something besides food. We're going to be talking about emotional wellness and fitness in the last 3 days, because remember, this is a package: real food, fitness, and emotional wellness. Thanks for joining us today. Please subscribe, share, and look at the items below. If you'd like to purchase any of them, please purchase them through our Amazon, and that way we'll get a little tiny bit of money from it.
Little boost.
And it won't cost you any extra. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.